Diana, we will let you kick us off. I'm super excited. Again, thank you so much for taking the time. And it looks like everybody here is really interested and committed to utilizing what we're learning today and reshaping some of our relationships. So,
all right, good. Okay, before we start, can I just ask everyone to just mute their microphones? Because I think, Megan, you're going to record for us, right? So is that okay?
Yes, it's already recording.
Okay, perfect. So the replay will be available for people who can't join us live. So I just want to make sure that the sound's going to be good for them. So,
perfect.
Okay, thank you guys. All right, so I'm going to start off with the true and false. My love is taken for granted. Thumbs up. True is, do you feel like your love's taken for granted? Thumbs down, like no, it's awesome, everything's great. Okay, so if you answered true, you are not alone. Many of us go through life truly trying to give love and get love. And it's possible that somewhere along the way, you felt like you were giving more and getting less. So this can be true in all types of relationships, both personal and professional. So have you ever experienced an imbalance of love from maybe a parent who didn't understand you, or a partner who you later decided just was all wrong for you? Maybe you have a child that doesn't know how much you do behind the scenes to make their life run smoothly. All of that might be true, and all might also have to do with the way that we give love and the way that we receive love. So this phenomenon is summed up by a concept called the 5 love languages. That's coined by Gary Chapman, and it's used as the basis of numerous books. I have a couple of them here to help us all give and get love in the love language that makes the most sense to us individually. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Now, all of you should have taken that quiz already and know your primary and secondary love languages. And the thing about the online quiz is actually it does give you all 5 in order. So my primary is physical touch. Secondary is words of affirmation. Next is acts of service, then quality time, and then receiving gifts is the least important to me as an individual. So now if you're comfortable with it, go ahead, use the chat to type in your primary and secondary love languages. I know some of you already did this in the Facebook group post that I put up yesterday, which I do appreciate. And I realized that some people were just not engaged with the Facebook group, so you may have missed that. So go ahead and use this opportunity now to put your love languages in the chat. And while you do that, tell me, thumbs up, thumbs down, if this scenario sounds familiar in maybe a relationship that you have now or one that you've had in the past. So you make it a point to clean the house and ensure all the dishes are done immediately after dinner. After all, you love to have a clean house and you think that your partner appreciates that too. So meanwhile, they go and just sit on the couch and they start watching TV. And you're thinking, well, geez, they care more about that TV show than helping me out with these chores. It really would make me feel happier and less stressed if they helped every now and then. And that person is thinking, she obviously cares more about having a clean house than being in this relationship with me. She's not interested in coming over to spend time with me. All I want her to do is sit down, cuddle on the couch, and spend some time with me. So this type of disconnect happens when the recipient has a completely different love language than you. Do you see how you can give and give in your love language and think that you're doing it the right way, and that other person doesn't recognize any love at all? So in this scenario, you're giving love through acts of service by washing the dishes, putting everything away, and they're wanting quality time and maybe even the contact of that physical touch by having you sit on the couch next to them. So another scenario might look like this in the workplace, where a team of 5 employees exceeds their expectations on a project, so the boss gives them all an expensive watch to commemorate the job well done. Well, 2 of the employees are thrilled, and the other 3 think that was such a waste of money, and actually they might even go complain to other employees about how disappointed they are. So what's happening in this situation? Well, the 2 who love the watch have a primary love language of receiving gifts, and the other 3 simply have other primary love languages of appreciation. So it has been proven that in the workplace, only the primary love language of appreciation matters to an employee. While in personal relationships, all 5 love languages kind of live on a spectrum. So employees only give points to their employer or their boss for hitting that primary love languages, and spouses or partners in relationship get varying amounts of credit or points for each of those 5 love languages. It's kind of interesting, right? So we're going to touch on each of these love languages in romantic relationships and in the workplace today, since we don't have a lot of time together. I will touch on the topic of using love languages with children, but we're not going to get very far into it. So first, let's talk about what each of the 5 love languages means. So I'm going to assume that you all have read the book and that you know a little bit about them. So I'm not going to go into too much depth with them, and you can always go back to your book and reference them. But I want to just kind of hit the highlights so we can have a little bit of discussion about it in relation to our families and our colleagues. So words of affirmation, for those who have this as their primary love language, verbal compliments are far greater motivators than nagging words. So when we receive affirming words, we're far more likely to be motivated to reciprocate and do something special that our spouse desires. A verbal compliment might sound like, "You are absolutely glowing after that walk you took. You look so beautiful and calm. It seems like you really enjoyed that." And a nagging word might sound like, "You need to go for a walk and cool off." Can you guys see the difference in that? Yeah, so encouraging words are the next aspect of words of affirmation. Encouragement requires empathy and seeing the world from your spouse's perspective. So we have to learn what is important to our spouse, and only then can we give them encouragement. So with verbal encouragement, we're trying to communicate that I know, I care, I am with you, and how can I help? And we're trying to show what we believe. No, we're trying to show that we believe in them and their abilities. So we're giving credit and praise through encouraging words. So my husband is a stock trader, and when he has a down day, it's really easy for him to feel discouraged and have that roll into the next day. So at the end of each day, I try to ask how his day went. And here I really want to listen, let him know his feelings are justified. Like, yeah, it really does stink to see your trading account go negative for that day. I remind him that I'm with him, I believe in him. This is just one day out of many, and that I do have confidence in his abilities to have positive days. So could I choose to berate and belittle him for having a negative trading day? Like, yes, for sure, I could do that. It might make me feel powerful for like a second in the moment that I do it. But negative repercussions for him and for our relationship might just start putting us into a dark spot that we don't want to go. And that's going to be the opposite of choosing love. Next is kind words. When we use kind words with our partner, we're expressing that we understand you are not a failure because you have failed. So together we're going to go on from here. Choosing to use kind words every single day means we're not forgetting that bad things may have happened in the past, but we're making a conscious choice to let each day be free from those failures of the past. Next is humble words. When you make a humble request of your spouse, you're affirming their worth and abilities. So nod your head if you can see these 2 requests sounding different. First, "Hey, hun, could you make that awesome pasta sometime this week? I can't stop thinking about it since you made it last time." And number 2, "We seem to have the same foods over and over. I wish we could get a decent meal or something different around here." So yeah, totally different, right? Yes, our words matter. We are all adults who are able to choose each day every word and tone that we use. So please, let's choose wisely, knowing that what you say, how you say it, impacts the way that other people feel. So if you want to take action with words of affirmation, try giving a compliment for 30 days straight and keep track of it so you can give a different compliment each day. It's a quick and easy way to show love and appreciation. The second love language is quality time. So spending time face-to-face without distractions or splitting your attention. There's 3 aspects to this love language that I want to talk about. First is quality conversation. This is a cornerstone of the love language. It's about engaging in real conversation, actively listening, and asking questions with a goal of learning and not fixing, and not trying to solve the other person's problems. And please refrain from interrupting. The book gives a startling statistic that people listen for a total of 17 seconds before interjecting their own thoughts, ideas, and solutions. So let's not do that. Let's listen for as long as the other person needs to talk and maintain eye contact throughout that conversation. Next is learning to talk or becoming self-aware. This can be really challenging for many people. This was a big one for me. I grew up in a house where we didn't really talk about our feelings. We focused on problems and solutions. There was not much freedom to express emotions. So I had to work really hard on my self-awareness when I started focusing on serious relationships. There's a really good exercise in the book that I recommend if this is one of your areas of opportunity as well. If that's an area you want to grow in, go ahead and check that out. And number 3 here is quality activities. So these can be really important to people who need quality time. The 3 components of a successful quality activity are 1, at least one of you wants to do it. 2, the other one is willing to do it. And 3, you both know you're doing it to express love by being together. So it can be any activity, big or small. It can be a big vacation or a simple 10-minute walk over your lunch break. So don't get bogged down by trying to always plan a grand gesture or an over-the-top date. Doing anything together is better than doing nothing at all because you're still trying to plan it. The 3rd love language is receiving gifts. Now, gifts are an important part of every culture on this planet, and historical evidence shows that it's not a new phenomenon. So the act of giving and receiving gifts is not about consumerism. Rather, it's going to play off of 3 categories. It's a reminder of love. It's often not the thing that you give that's special, but it's the memory associated with that thing. 2, it's an intentional investment. So money intentionally spent to brighten someone else's day is money well spent. That person will know that you were thinking about them even when you were not together. And 3, giving and receiving gifts sometimes requires you to just give the gift of your presence. So sometimes what is needed is just knowing that someone else is giving up something else or being somewhere else just to merely show support by being present with you. So this form of gift giving means a lot to people who resonate with gifts. The 4th love language is acts of service. This is where the term actions speak louder than words was born. If you are in a relationship with someone who highly values acts of service, you have to choose a meaningful task and follow through with it to the end. If you start it and you stop short of completion, it's going to cause double injury to that relationship. So completing acts of service does not mean becoming a doormat who serves the other person from sunup to sundown. It does mean being intentional about the activities that you do support for your partner and letting them know you're completing those tasks to show your love. It's totally okay to tell your spouse, honey, today I'm going to show you my love by completing XYZ task. It can be taking out the trash. It can be on this super cold day, I'm going to be the one that takes all the bins down to the end of the driveway. Don't worry about that. You'll probably get double kudos for this because the surge of love that that person is going to feel just from being told that the task is going to get done, and then another surge of love when the task is actually completed. So there's a whole list of other ideas in the book that I'll encourage you to go check out. And then 5 is physical touch. So touch is something that humans need from the minute we're born to the minute we leave this earth. We have tiny tactile receptors all over our body. They crave stimulation, and during different phases of our life, those cravings take on different intensity and different form. So babies crave being held, and they thrive when they get skin-to-skin contact. Some friends love just holding hands as a sign of affection and showing that they like being with each other. Couples generally enjoy physical touch of a more sexual nature at times. And physical touch is not all about the sex, though, in romantic relationships. It's any kind of embrace, an arm around the shoulder, hand holding, even just sitting next to someone and feeling the weight of their arm or their leg against yours. All of that can meet that need for physical touch. So can you tell that I'm a physical touch person? Like, that's my primary love language. I do understand a lot of nuance around this because I spend a lot of time thinking about it. My husband's primary love language is also physical touch. So it's easier for me to recognize when I feel a lack. He probably is too. So I'll consciously step up my intention to maybe just run my hand across his back when we pass in the hallway, or stop for a quick kiss as we take turns getting kids on and off of the toilet. It's the little touches throughout the day that add up to us both feeling like our love tanks are getting filled up. I do want to recognize that there are a lot of dark places and abuses that can happen when physical touch is involved. And if you are someone you know needs help with that, I'm not the resource for that. There's tons of professional help in our area. And I do encourage you to just reach out and find the help that you need there. For those who want to incorporate more consensual physical touch into their relationships, there are a few easy things you can do. Small hugs throughout the day, a back massage, a foot massage, holding hands while watching TV, or just holding hands as you walk from place to place, even from the car to the grocery store. All of that is going to make a big difference for people who resonate with physical touch. So the overarching fact of all of this is that love is a choice. We have to actively choose to love the other person in their love language, and there's no way to get around that. For couples who say their relationship has always been easy, that might be true, and it might be true because they speak the same love language. The way that they naturally give love is the way their partner perceives love. And for other couples, though, this is not the case. These are relationships that require more work and more active choices. Just because two people have to put in the work to give love in a way that actually fills up the other person's love tank, it doesn't mean the people are mismatched or that the relationship is going to fail. It simply means both people need to make the choice every single day to fill up their partner's love tank. And when a relationship is at the point where both people are not feeling loved, what do we do from there? One person just needs to make the choice to love and give love in the other person's primary love language, no matter what is given in return. There is actually a book called The Love Dare. It's a 40-day challenge to give love across all 5 love languages, no matter what the response is. The purpose is to show unconditional love to the other person until they reach the point where their heart has softened, and then they are able to give love in return. So I know at least one other person in this group has done that with me. It's a really powerful tool, and if you want to, I encourage you to check it out. It's called The Love Dare. I also really encourage you to read the excerpts from the marriage counseling sessions that Gary Chapman did at the end of this 5 love languages book. You'll see how he has instructed some couples to put these 5 love languages to work. And I absolutely love the quote in the book that says, understanding the 5 love languages and learning to speak the primary love language of your spouse may radically affect his or her behavior. People behave differently when their emotional love tanks are full. It really just sums up the whole purpose of learning about this topic. So let's shift gears a little bit to using love languages for children, and then I'm going to cover love languages of appreciation in the workplace. So children need love languages, all 5 of them, not only as an opportunity to see what fits with them, but also as training to give love in all 5 love languages. We want our children to be proficient in giving and receiving in all 5 love languages as early on as possible. Those are just going to help them build those patterns that will serve them for the rest of their lives. So for those who are wondering how they can figure out which love languages their children vibe with the most, the main problem is children can't simply take that assessment like you guys did. You jumped online, you took that quiz. Depending on the age of the child, they don't possess enough self-awareness to adequately choose one over the other. So the assessment does work for older children and teens though. One book that is helpful for smaller children to understand the concept of love languages is this one. It's called A Perfect Pet for Peyton. This is by Gary Chapman as well. It's a cute book that kids can understand. And I would say for my kids, like age 3 is about the right age for them to start understanding the concept beyond just being called different animals. In this book, each love language takes on the form of an animal, and they kind of talk through how to choose which pet would be the right one for you. So for children who are a little bit older, I would say 1st or 2nd grade, you can try asking them some pairs of questions, such as like, when you get home from school, do you like it better when I have your snack ready right away, or when we get to give each other a hug first? Or when we have free time in the evening, do you prefer playing a game together, or would you like to go shopping for a new outfit or toy? So the kids will be able to give you some of those indications as they get older. You can also make observations about the types of things they ask for, and this is perhaps even more telling than asking direct questions. So for example, one of my 5 kids is always asking us to get him this or that, his water bottle, his blanket that's like 5 feet away from him, put his socks on, even though he knows how to do it. He isn't helpless, he isn't lazy, he just thrives off of acts of service, and it makes him feel loved when my husband and I do those small things for him. Okay, so moving right along into love languages of appreciation in the workplace. So you're going to hear me use that longer title now. This book for the workplace is actually Love Languages of Appreciation. So I'm going to refer to that when we go through this section. So we are getting kind of short on time, so I want to just kind of jump into this one. This book is really good if you haven't read it. It gives a different spin on the love languages, and it talks about them all in relation to colleagues, employers and employees, supervisors and kind of the worker bees, and also across team members who don't have any direct line of reporting. So why is it important to apply love languages in the workplace? Well, there's a quote on page 23 of this book that says, "We believe that people in the workplace need to feel appreciated in order for them to enjoy their job, do their best work, and continue working over the long haul. When team members truly feel valued, good results follow." So in fact, the single highest driver of employee engagement, according to a worldwide study conducted by Towers Watson, is whether or not workers feel their managers are genuinely interested in their well-being. It wasn't the money they make or the number of gifts that they're given in a year. Studies have shown that leaders who give little praise to their team members actually undercut the perceived value of the salaries they're paying. And employees who report the highest levels of receiving recognition are over 2 times more likely to agree that they're paid appropriately for the work that they do. So giving your team adequate recognition and appreciation can actually save you money. You won't have to keep throwing pay raises at them as much, and they're going to feel that they are compensated adequately. 89% of managers believe employees leave their job for more money, while they believe that only 11% of employees leave for other reasons, when in fact it's totally the opposite. 12% of employees reported leaving for more money, and 88% of employees state that they left for reasons other than money. Those reasons being more psychological in nature, including not feeling trusted or valued. Now, if you're a boss, I want to warn you that appreciation can be manipulated when your sole driver is the financial factor. So as a boss or a manager, we don't want to manipulate people into feeling appreciated just because we want to save money. They're going to see right through that. Our true motivation really does just need to be the well-being of those employees. And another interesting fact is that the burden doesn't completely fall on the bosses and managers. So there's a quote from this book on page 50 that says, "Although most employees like to receive positive messages from their supervisor, hearing encouragement and support from their coworkers has become increasingly important. Receiving a compliment or having a colleague report to others how valuable your contribution was to the success of a project is extremely meaningful to more and more employees." So that means just those coworkers that don't have any direct line of reporting. People really love it when those coworkers, they're kind of on that same level, report that this employee over here is doing a great job. So it's simply unrealistic to put that full burden of showing appreciation for employees on the shoulders of managers and direct supervisors. Expanding the focus from this group of employees to everyone on a team can create a more positive result and a more positive feeling for that team. Okay, so I think that's enough of the why. We all know why we need to do this now. Let's move on to the how. If we're going to use words of affirmation in the workplace, first, praise for accomplishments. Mention the specific task or the project that somebody did well on. Affirm their character. Say something like, "Hey, I saw you put a lot of focused work into analyzing that data, and I really appreciate it." Praise their personality. Say something like, "Your positivity really makes a difference in the way this team works." That person's going to want to be positive all the time then, right? Now the how and the where. It can be personal, it can be one-on-one. You can give praise in front of other people. You can give written affirmation if it's just a handwritten letter that's really more meaningful than an email. And then public affirmation if it's an award ceremony or something like that. Now, missing the mark with hollow praise. You can't just say a blanket, thanks everyone, good job today statement when you're leaving a room or leaving a meeting. It doesn't have the same impact that you want, and it can in fact be a bad thing when someone in that room was maybe expecting to be singled out and praised. So be careful with that one. And then also the tragedy of neglect. People who thrive on words of affirmation need to be recognized, period. It's not a good idea to let time pass without showing recognition for accomplishments, for their character, and for their personality. So a survey across organizations showed that 45% of employees report words of affirmation as the most frequently chosen love language of appreciation. Pretty cool, right? Like you can use that simple list and hit 45% of your team, but also that means 55% of the people need something else, and we got to figure out what that is too. So quality time is the next one. In a romantic relationship, it's the same as in a romantic relationship. You still have to give your focused attention and engage in quality conversation. You need to practice active listening, maintain eye contact, resist the temptation to look at the ceiling, the floor, out the window, at your computer screen. Resist the impulse to interrupt. Remember that 17 seconds? Listen for feelings as well as thoughts. Observe their body language, because sometimes the body language will speak one message while words speak another. Ask for clarification and make sure that you really know what they are thinking and feeling. I know it can be a little awkward in work situations to be doing that, but the more we practice it, the easier it's going to become. And affirm their feelings even if you disagree with their conclusions. For quality time to work, you can go a couple different routes. One is shared experiences. So go do something fun. Go out to lunch or go bowling as a team. Obviously, when things open up, we'll have many more options, but we can be kind of creative with this too. So working collegially with coworkers on a task, if you are getting people together for a project team based on their strengths and not just convenience of schedule, those people on that handpicked team are going to feel very special about that. They're going to feel every time that they are working on something together that they are actually having that quality time with each other. Doing small group dialogues, a focus group where people can give their best ideas for improvement because you truly value their input, and then you have to carry through with the input that you give, or the input that they give. Otherwise, that focus group is not going to mean anything at all. Overcoming barriers to quality time. The biggest thing is you have to make the time. You have to clear your schedule and put this on as an important thing that's not going to get bumped for, say, another meeting that comes up or another task that you have to do. Have a positive attitude about spending that time with your colleagues and find creative ways to do it even when you're virtual. So that can mean even with you're on Zoom, playing games together, having time just to catch up, doing virtual happy hours, something fun, something that might be not so regimented, just so people can kind of have those like good vibe feelings with their coworkers. Showing appreciation by spending time with your work associates can take different forms, but the impact on your team members can be really significant. So if the quality time is an individual's primary appreciation language, they're going to thrive when they receive the time with those that they value. Make sense? Yeah, okay, good. Acts of service. When a colleague's primary love language is acts of service, they appreciate it when others reach out to help. Generally, these people have lots of energy. They work hard. They're extremely efficient. These people are generally the team leaders and are able to get their colleagues excited about completing a project. These people don't work for the praise or the recognition. Therefore, giving them attention for their accomplishments does not particularly motivate them. Now let's talk over some strategies on how to serve others in the workplace efficiently. Number one, make sure your own responsibilities are covered before volunteering to help others. Don't leave your post just because you're so interested in offering help to someone else. Number two, ask for the way that they want help. It's critical to ask someone first. If you're considering helping them, you have to know if they want help and how they want the help. It's quite possible that that person who's working on a task already has it laid out in their mind of how they want to get to the end. So if you have a drive to just start helping, it might actually create more tension rather than encouragement. Number 3, do not assume that you know what help they want or need. 4, if you're going to help, do it their way. Number 5, serve voluntarily. Don't make it seem like it's a chore for you to help them out. Number 6, check your attitude. Receiving help from someone who's grumpy or who doesn't really want to help, it's not going to be encouraging. So most people would rather do the work themselves than work with a colleague who has a bad attitude. I think we've all been there, right? Number 7, complete what you start. Those individuals for whom active service is important, one way to not encourage them is to start a task and then leave it incomplete. If you're going to help them, make sure that task gets done. Number 4, love language is tangible gifts. So giving the right gift to the right person can send a really powerful message of thanks, appreciation, and encouragement. Conversely, though, giving a gift to someone who doesn't really appreciate gifts has very little impact, and the wrong gift can actually be offensive to that recipient. So the challenge of giving the correct gift to the right person is the primary reason why many employers just don't give gifts anymore for anniversaries or for birthdays or whatever. However, totally abandoning the giving of gifts as an expression of appreciation in the workplace does leave many employees feeling unappreciated. So what are the key components necessary for tangible rewards in the workplace to be truly encouraging? Well, first, you need to give gifts primarily just to those individuals who appreciate them. In a survey of over 100,000 employees, they found that tangible gifts is the least chosen love language through which individuals want to be shown appreciation. Only 6% of employees chose tangible gifts as their primary language, and 68% report it as their least valued appreciation language. Now, second is that you must give a gift the person values. A favorite gift to receive in the workplace is food. Bringing in a colleague's favorite type of coffee, bagels or donuts to share, ordering pizza for a Friday lunch. Those are all examples of using food to express your appreciation to your colleagues. And also don't forget about those healthier options. I know people are going to be loving some crisp and green salads coming up, right? After food, gift cards are the second most popular workplace gift. But the reality is that many supervisors and colleagues don't have a lot of extra money in their budget to fund those $25 or $30 gift cards for their coworkers. So when it comes to tangible gifts in the workplace, people are really going to enjoy experiences, the experience of just getting that gift rather than the thing, whatever the gift is. So some examples might include tickets to a sporting event, gift cards to a restaurant, tickets to cultural events such as the theater, art exhibits, concerts, small vacations or retreats, certificates to a spa or a free round of golf, shopping at a local mall, or even just online shopping, gift cards to a home goods store, gift cards to help them buy children's clothing at the beginning of school year. So what do you think about using time off as gifts though? The research shows that time off is actually perceived as a tangible gift. So it is valued by colleagues of all age groups, and it has become a highly desired form of appreciation. Time off can look like being able just to come in late on a certain day, or having the freedom to take longer lunch breaks, the ability to leave work early on a specific day, or take a couple days of comp time after completing a big project that required a lot of extra hours. But remember that the true meaning of a tangible gift to the recipient is knowing that the gift giver put time and effort and thought into the gift. So let's just go ahead and forget about those mindless gifts of the past that don't really translate into feelings of appreciation. If somebody has diabetes, don't give them a box of candy. If you have like a bunch of logo shirts that were that the marketing team was using that they don't need anymore. Don't think that you can give those to employees and that they're going to perceive those as a valuable gift. Pre-printed cards that say we appreciate you, those miss the mark. Leftover marketing trinkets after a convention, mugs and pens with the company's old logo, that stuff is not going to give you the bang that you want when you're trying to give a tangible gift. The most important thing, whatever you give a handwritten card with it. That is going to speak volumes. All right, so moving on to physical touch. Shall we chat about this a little bit in the workplace? Like, it seems kind of weird, right? Is anyone feeling nervous about this right now? It's okay if you are. We're just going to go through it together. So the best thing to remember here is that the recipient of the touch is always the authority on what type of touch is acceptable. I know things are a little different right now just because of social distancing, but when it becomes safe again, physical touch in the workplace can look like this, just making someone feel important by giving them a firm handshake, giving someone a high five or a fist bump who's done a good job. A simple pat on the back by a supportive friend might inspire somebody to just persevere through a difficult task. And then when a personal tragedy occurs, some people do really appreciate a hug from a close friend. All of that is okay to do in the workplace as long as both people are okay with it. So if you're a touchy-feely person and the recipient is not, you'll be able to read their body language and know when you need to just give them more space. So just be aware of it. Keep your eyes open, pay attention to how the other person is acting and take your cue from them. So how do we discover the language of appreciation of our coworkers? Well, simply asking somebody their language of appreciation is not going to cut it. Most people don't know and will say something like, I don't know, I guess just tell me thank you. Your next thoughts might be to observe what they do for others. Now, the problem is that 25% of the population typically speaks a different language than they wish to receive in the workplace. So this is especially true for tangible gifts. Many people who enjoy giving gifts are not really impacted by receiving gifts themselves. So there are some ways we can discover the primary language of appreciation. Number one, observe what they request of others. What are they asking for? If you often hear a coworker asking for help with projects, acts of service might be their appreciation language. The coworker who says, when you go to the conference, would you pick me up some freebies? That person's requesting gifts. Your colleagues are regularly asking friends, maybe to go shopping with them, take a trip together, come over to my house for dinner. They're really asking for quality time. If you hear coworkers ask, does this look right? Did I do the report the way you wanted? Those people are asking for words of affirmation. Our requests tend to indicate our primary appreciation language. Next, listen to their complaints. The things about which an individual complains may well reveal their appreciation language. So when asked how things are going, someone might say, okay, I guess, but it seems like nobody really appreciates what I do, or maybe what I do is never enough. Well, this person's language of appreciation is words of affirmation. They just want to hear that they're doing a good job. Next, explore how they are encouraged. While most of us do not think a lot about how we feel appreciated, we connect more with feelings, with feeling encouraged or discouraged. So therefore, you might gain some clues about another person's preferred language of appreciation by asking them, when you're discouraged, what is something that encourages you? Or when you've been discouraged in the past, what has someone done that you have found to be encouraging? So just asking them about their experience and what they have preferred in the past can really give you a lot of clues. Now, if all of that seems like a lot of work to you and you don't really want to go through all of that, there is an online quiz that you can take. It does give more information about it in this book. It's by Gary Chapman and Paul White, who wrote this book together. It's called the MBA Inventory. It does cost money to take the inventory, but if it's something that is important to you as a team leader, or as an employer, it might be worth the $11 or $15, depending on which tier you choose. It might be worth that cost for you to invest for each person in your organization to take it. And for those who buy this book, you get a free code in the back to take it. So the cost of the book covers your quiz cost. So that's what I have for you guys for content on the love languages. I hope you learned a whole bunch from it. And if you want to learn more, I'm continuing on with this week over in my Facebook group, the Hassle-Free Family, with some of these types of tips. And we might talk about things that are going to be a little bit different than what I shared with you today too. So jump on over into that Facebook group to check it out. I'll post a link for that in the Facebook group for you guys as well. So you can find it easy. And if you want to participate in that reconnection challenge that we just completed, it's a 2-week challenge. I will drop the form, the opt-in form for that too, as well in the Facebook group. All you do is put your email address in. It will send you one post a day on a daily challenge to do, just to show your partner that you love them. And it's going to hit on all but 5 different love languages. So that's what I have. Brandy, do you want to wrap us up and we'll say goodbye?
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so recap real quick for me. The 2-week challenge, if we opt in, that's like a day. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yep, it's just called the Reconnection Challenge from the Hassle-Free Family. If you drop your email into the form, it's going to just send you one email each day for 2 weeks. And it's going to say like day 1 challenge. You're going to say nothing negative. This is just going to be baseline, right? Day 2, it's going to tell you to say something positive, give a compliment. That's a word of affirmation. Okay. And then as we go through each day, it's going to give you something else to do.
Got it. So Jen, do you mind sharing with the group? Did you do that, the 2-week session, or did you do the 40-day challenge?
I did the Love Dare. Diana, remind me, was it 2 weeks or was it 40?
The Love Dare was the 40-day one. Yep. That was
Okay.
that was the whole shebang.
Did I actually do 40 days is the real question.
I'm guessing most people did 10 to 14.
It was really good because I needed, like when Diana was saying the things to do, literally my mind went to, can I have an app for that? Like, can you tell me what compliment I should give every day? Because to be consistent and that's exactly what the Love Dare does, is it gives you little challenges every day. So it's really good.
Questions for Diana? My mind is just racing. So really good information. And I feel like I already need to like hire you to do a little session within my team. What do you think, Rach? Do you think our team would maybe get into this, right? We all buy the book and take the quiz and then have Diana show us how to navigate. That might be fun.
It is. It's really fun. It's interesting to do it with teams of coworkers. And I do it. So I didn't mention before too, but I am a distributor for Young Living essential oils and non-toxic products. So I do a lot of this stuff with my team too. We meet, before we were meeting once a month in person. Lately, we haven't done once a month because schedules and Zoom and all of that stuff with people having their kids at home. But I do try to keep some of this stuff going with them and giving them appreciation, sending handwritten notes to them. I used to go kind of full bore and send everybody oils and all of that, like gifts all the time. And then I figured out that people just they don't care about the gifts, right? The book said like 6% of people care about the gifts. People like the cards, just knowing that they're appreciated, giving little tips on how to succeed, showing that you recognize what their organization has done in the past, just because in an MLM and a distributorship, just because people have their accounts underneath your account doesn't mean that they work for you, right? They run their own business. So you want to just recognize that you see what they're doing. You recognize that they're having their own successes, that they're building their own thing. So don't treat those people like they're your employees, right? They're on par. They're doing the same types of things that you're doing. So just recognizing that really encourages people.
Anybody?
I think you had mentioned something about a hassle-free family or something on Facebook. What is that?
Yep. So that's the Facebook group that I started a little over a year ago. That's the group that we teach weekly topics in. We touch on so many different things. I encourage you to just go over to Facebook, type in the Hassle-Free Family. It will come up for you. Yeah, we have most of our things organized into units. So you can see we do all types of emotional things. We talk about food. We talk about just hassle-free tips. We talk about parenting tips. tons of different things. So yeah, jump on over there and check it out.